Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're tackling a massive transformation, the data to AI factory. We are looking at exactly how you can scale your data architectures into fully investment-ready AI platforms, and we're doing it through the lens of strategic board intervention. Today, we're going to break down a fascinating micro-case study that reveals the specific governance mechanics you need to turn raw potential into real institutional-grade value. Okay, let's dive into this overarching question. How exactly do you evolve a static standard data asset into a global AI factory? This was the monumental challenge faced by a visionary CEO operating in the highly regulated digital health sector. She already had a really strong core offering, right? But taking it from a standard repository to a dynamic, scalable factory is a massive leap. And, it's not just a tech problem, it's a fundamental structural one. Now, before we get into the friction she faced, I want to reveal the ultimate outcome, a 5 times valuation growth, 5x. That is the kind of explosive scale we are talking about today. It really establishes exactly what is at stake when a company successfully navigates this transition from a standard asset to a world-class AI engine. So keep this incredible multiplier in the back of your mind as we unpack exactly how they got there. All right, Section 1, the AI Scaling Challenge. There is a huge fundamental difference between a standard data asset and a scalable data and AI factory. Like I said, the CEO's baseline offering was strong, but technology alone simply cannot scale without a complete structural transformation to back it up. Trying to run an AI factory on legacy operations is literally like putting bicycle tires on a rocket ship. It's just not going to work. An AI factory requires continuous ingestion, processing, and output at a global scale. It's a completely different operational beast. To actually achieve that kind of scale, they mapped out some highly aggressive market share targets across 3 very complex verticals: healthcare, pharma, and education and research. Capturing roughly a third of the market in each of these highly regulated sectors simultaneously requires a massive coordinated operational shift. You simply can't just copy and paste your strategy from one vertical to the next and expect it to stick. And that brings us to the operational friction. To hit those targets, the organization had to align highly distributed, multicultural teams all over the globe. They had to design incredibly complex, localized go-to-market strategies while simultaneously rolling out cohesive international campaigns. The sheer complexity of managing these global teams while pushing a wildly ambitious technical roadmap, well, that's exactly where companies usually stall out. Which brings us to Section 2, Strategic Board Intervention. The solution came in the form of non-executive director Israel Baran. Serving as an NED and strategic board advisor, Baran stepped in to provide structured 360-degree governance. This level of comprehensive oversight is absolutely required to de-risk a massive transformation like this. His entire intervention was designed to elevate the product function from a scrappy startup mentality up to rigorous global institutional standards. So, what did that advisory engagement actually focus on day to day? It came down to 2 core pillars: building long-term operational resilience and elevating leadership maturity. Because think about it, to prepare a company for explosive scale, you have to build systems that won't break under pressure, and you need an executive team mature enough to manage that heat. It's all about building the operational and human infrastructure before you pour gasoline on the fire. Moving on to Section 3, Blueprint for Global Governance. Israel Baran worked very closely with the board and the CEO, and it started with mapping organizational strengths just to set the baseline. Once they established that, the focus entirely shifted to driving executive growth. It's a domino effect, really. When executives mature, you naturally foster high team autonomy. And because the team is autonomous and well-led, the global product workforce can finally execute independently. Executive growth directly enables that independent global execution. Now, there is a really critical balance required here. On one side, you absolutely need comprehensive strategic roadmaps. You have to know exactly where you are going. But on the other side, you must pair that with agile contingency plans. Rapid global expansion is never a straight line, right? By structuring both, the company could easily navigate the inevitable roadblocks of international growth without ever losing sight of their ultimate destination. And all of this structured governance leads directly to one vital point: preparing the capital structure for the entry of prominent funds. By elevating their operations to institutional standards, this governance blueprint completely aligned the company's fundraising strategy with the rigorous expectations of top-tier investors. They weren't just building a great product anymore, they were building a highly investable enterprise. Let's look at Section 4, the non-negotiable core. In the digital health sector, speed can never, ever come at the expense of safety. The non-negotiable core of their technical and commercial architecture was a fiercely patient-centric philosophy combined with incredibly strict data protection frameworks. This was their anchor. Throughout their rapid evolution and global expansion, Israel Baron ensured that this core was never, under any circumstances, compromised. And this brilliantly illustrates a vital lesson for anyone operating in highly regulated spaces. In sectors dealing with sensitive human data, uncompromised protection is not just some legal checkbox, it is the ultimate foundation for your value creation. If investors see even a single crack in your data protection, your valuation completely crumbles. Protection is paramount. All right, Section 5, driving 5x valuation growth. So, what were the results? The strategic NED intervention delivered 3 major enterprise upgrades. First, exceptional enterprise stability, making absolutely sure the foundation won't crack. Second, elevated international visibility, as they successfully executed those complex global go-to-market strategies. And third, outstanding financials. These outcomes are the direct, tangible result of institutional readiness and structured board guidance. The difference between the baseline valuation and the ultimate 5x valuation increase is just staggering. We are not just talking about a slight bump in revenue here. This is a foundational reimagining of what the entire company is worth. It is the absolute financial triumph of structured governance, proving once and for all that properly managing the transition to an AI factory unlocks massive equity value. So how do they actually capture that value? Well, through very specific revenue multipliers. Armed with a mature, investor-ready engine, the company secured prestigious global partnerships. Furthermore, they successfully executed major cross-sales across all 3 of their core sectors: healthcare, pharma, and education. This highly interconnected approach unlocked incredibly lucrative new revenue streams that entirely justified their 5x valuation. Finally, Section 6, your board's next move. If you're a C-suite leader tuning in right now seeking to scale your own proprietary data into a world-class AI engine, the core thesis is simply this: accelerate your roadmap with strategic board oversight. Capital follows structured governance. Strategic board intervention isn't just about compliance. It's the actual catalyst for scaling operations, de-risking your roadmap, and becoming truly investor-ready. If you want to explore how tailored advisory engagement models can replicate this kind of incredible success in your own enterprise, the best next step is a board alignment consultation. It's an amazing opportunity to objectively map your organizational strengths and identify the exact specific governance structures you need to hit your own growth multipliers. I'm going to leave you with this final thought today. Is your board truly ready for institutional investment and massive value creation? Take a really hard look at your current governance. Do you have the 360-degree oversight needed to evolve your standard data assets into a thriving AI factory? If not, it might just be time to rethink your board strategy. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will see you next time.